That worries me because the world is ending, and we're playing games. If you look at any headline, if you look outside of the computer, if you go outside, look at prices not denominated in Bitcoin, when you look at them in your local currency, everything is going crazy.
This week, she testified that SBF directed her to steal billions from FTX. So how damaging is testimony like that for SBF?
Extremely. These are his former colleagues. Caroline Ellison was apparently his girlfriend. I mean, these are people who lived with him, worked with him, built the companies up from the ground floor. They know SBF personally and as the architect of this alleged fraud. So the fact that they have both pleaded guilty and are now testifying against SBF and basically saying, we committed these crimes, but we didn't do it alone. We did it with and at the direction of SBF. This is very, very devastating testimony against SBF. That said, one of the things that I've found interesting is oftentimes prosecutors will find contemporaneous communications or other evidence that confirms and corroborates what these witnesses are saying. Obviously, there's the argument that SBF will expectedly make that Gary Wang and Ellison are only saying that SBF knew about this fraud and directed them to commit this fraud and conspired to commit this fraud only so that they can get a reduced jail sentence. Typically what prosecutors do is they will show a text message that says, oh, SBF directed Ellison to commit fraud. Or Wang, you will testify and say, I thought this was wrong at the time. And then there will be an email where he says, hey, SBF, this is wrong. We shouldn't be doing this anymore. Having not followed the trial perfectly, nor having been present at any of the testimony or court hearings, that seems to be one of the things that perhaps might be a bit lacking from the prosecution's case. That said, one of the interesting facts that came out recently was that SBF directed people to be careful what they put in writing and used digital communication applications that actually had disappearing messages. So that might explain why there's limited corroborating evidence based on this testimony of these cooperators.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Support this great content by hitting the cash app and by joining the Patreon.
And we have Edward Snowden saying the world is over. And guys, we know the world is not over, but the world that we knew is definitely over. If the sheep do not wake up, we know it's the rise of the machines. And then next, the rise of transhumanism. I know it sounds like a movie, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And speaking of movies, and we have the Bankman movie going on, and guys, believe me, there's going to be a twist that's going to be thrown in this trial. Remember, guys, it looks too easy. You have two of his co-workers already pled guilty. And we know he's clearly guilty, but he only needs one juror to say he's innocent. Yes, we've seen plenty of movies like that also. And guys, we're still looking for a Speaker of House. We have Steve Scalise drops out. And guys, we know if there's no Speaker, the House is doing nothing. And in the next 30 days, we may see a shutdown. And we know this economy definitely doesn't need that. And then, guys, we have Vermont. Speaking of batteries, we knew it was coming. We know the NWO selects a state to push their agenda. We know California is driverless cars. Vermont now is going to be the batteries. We know Elon Musk has the batteries. We know on the crypto side, we have Energy Web Token, and blockchain and digital assets are definitely going to change energy. I've done plenty of videos on it. But now we're seeing the foundation being laid. Power lines going underground, and then everyone getting a battery. And what did she say? Lives on the line. We know they push fear in order to move the agenda. But guys, we know what Klaus stated. We're in a fragmented world, and they're going to break up every sector. in order to bring in the robots, algorithms, and drones. And we know they're going to be paying each other with crypto. They now have money, and the sheep are going inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Congressman of Louisiana Steve Scalise says he is dropping out of the race for House Speaker. We may have just seen the future of home electricity, and it's coming from Vermont. Green Mountain Power is Vermont's biggest utility, and it just announced a revolutionary new initiative that wants to give most of its customers battery backups. Over the next 6 to 7 years, it will also try to bury their power lines, all part of a plan to make sure it is much harder to lose power, and if you do for some reason, you've got battery backups to help keep the power, the heat, and the lights on. And many of these batteries, by the way, may come from companies and stocks you know, Enphase, Generac, SolarEdge, and yes, even Tesla's Powerwall. The initiative still needs to be approved by state regulators, but if approved, early projects could begin as soon as next spring. Green Mountain Power CEO Mary McClure joining us now on Last Call to talk about it. Saw the story, was fascinated by it, Mary. Thank you very much for joining us. These batteries, they're not cheap. I've looked into them for my own home. You're talking 10 to maybe 15 grand, depending on the size and what kind of power you're looking to store. How would this program work for Green Mountain Power customers?
Well, hey, Brian, it's great to be here. So first of all, what's really not cheap is the repair and maintenance costs that's happening all over the grid, thanks to the climate change and the weather we're experiencing all over the world, but we're seeing it here in Vermont big time. So what we would do here is it's a three-pronged approach. This is our full-on plan to look at the extreme weather right in its face and tackle it. We're going to put residential, rural distribution lines under the ground over the next 7 years. We're going to put storm-hardened, insulated, strong cable up above on the overhead lines, and we're going to get energy storage out to every single Vermonter. And the reason we're doing that is because lives are on the line, and we see it. And, you know, I was just listening to your last segment. I have a Ford F-150 Lightning, and it kept my house up for 5 days during outages when it was 5 degrees. So this is something that we know works now. We've been deploying it. Since 2015, we've had residential storage out there. We've got thousands of Vermonters that are already having this experience, and we need to roll it out for the rest of the state, quite frankly, because lives are on the line.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Tam save New York from COVID stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.